Today we're going to be looking at how to solve one-step addition equations with negatives. We have a couple of examples that we're going to work through together here, so let's get started. For question number 1, we're being asked to solve for the value of n. And as we can see up top here, highlighted in yellow, in order for us to isolate our variable of n, we're going to need to perform the inverse or the opposite operation of whatever is being done to our variable. Here in question number 1, we have n plus 14 equals negative 44. So in this problem, we're adding 14 onto our variable. So in order for us to isolate our variable of n, we're going to need to perform the inverse operation of addition. And the inverse operation of addition is subtraction. So on the left-hand side of this equation, we're going to subtract 14. But this brings up a very important point here that we can see up top highlighted in blue, which is that we need to keep both sides of the equation equal. So since we're subtracting 14 from the left-hand side of this problem, we need to make sure that we're doing the same thing to the right side of this problem as well. So we're also going to be subtracting 14 from the right-hand side of this equation as well. So starting out with the left-hand side here, our adding 14 and subtracting 14 cancel each other out. So now our variable of n is isolated. And then for the right-hand side here, we're going to be subtracting 14 from negative 44. So we're going to be decreasing in value. So when we subtract 14 from negative 44, we get negative 58. So n is equal to negative 58. And we are going to double check this just to make sure that we have the correct answer here. And we're going to do this by plugging in our value for n in our original problem. In our original problem, we have negative 58 plus 14 equals negative 44. And since we're adding a positive number onto our negative 58, we're going to be increasing in value. So when we add 14 onto negative 58, we get negative 44. And then since both sides of this equation are equal, it means that we have the correct answer. N is equal to negative 58. Now moving on to question number 2, where this time we're being asked to solve for the value of r in the problem r plus negative 9 equals negative 4. So just like with the first problem, in order for us to isolate our variable of r, we're going to need to undo whatever's being done to our variable. And here we're adding negative 9 onto our variable of r. So we're going to perform the inverse operation, and the inverse operation of addition is subtraction. So on the left-hand side of this problem, we're going to subtract negative 9. Then we need to keep both sides equal, so we're going to do the same thing to the right side of this problem as well. So on the right-hand side, we're also going to be subtracting negative 9. Starting out with the left-hand side here, our adding negative 9 and our subtracting negative 9 cancel each other out. So now our variable of r is isolated. And then for the right-hand side here, since we're subtracting a negative, it means that we're going to be increasing in value. So when we subtract a negative 9 from negative 4, we're going to get a positive 5. So r is equal to 5. And if you're unsure of why it is that when we subtract a negative, we increase in value, I encourage you to pause this video and take a look at some of the video links in the description below, where we go over adding and subtracting both positive and negative integers in a lot more detail. So to make sure that we have the correct answer here, we're going to plug in our value for r in our original problem. So we have 5 plus negative 9 equals negative 4. So here, since we're adding a negative onto a positive, it means that we're going to be decreasing in value. So when we add negative 9 onto 5, we get negative 4. And then since both sides of this equation are equal, it means that we have the correct answer. R is equal to 5. So hopefully by now you understand how to solve one-step addition equations with negatives. Help make math less complicated by smashing those like and subscribe buttons. As always, enjoy today's math journey.